Hey y'all, it is here. That's right, the Medieval Horse Knights Castle right here is available for you to get. It is the follow-up from 2021's Medieval Castle, which became a pretty big fan favorite. Now this set gives us a brand new castle right here. You could also build this jousting scene or this market scene right here. And it gives us two brand new castle factions. So in this independent review, we're going to take a deep dive into these sets, talk about the good, the great, and the awkward. Here we go. The box is very nice, highlighting the most flattering view of the main set model, which is surrounded by a moat with green grass, trees, and mountains in the background. Of note, you can see the medieval dragon that was released in January flying around in the background. The front of the box also highlights the B and C models, which get a bit more attention on the back of the box. Inside are 11 numbered bags, a paper pouch with 3 instruction manuals, and no stickers. The instruction manuals are separated out by the 3 models, with the A model consisting of the most pages. I have to say I really like the creator boxes as they show you a lot of stuff in the background, and I wish that the icons theme would do more of that because look how great this set pops with more in the background. We're going to start our main review with the minifigs, which is, I know, something that a lot of Castle fans are excited about. All of these minifigs are really good, but the least best, which is a compliment, is the blacksmith, who has a white shirt with a lace-up collar, brown leather jacket, and brown hands. His white beard, or grayish beard, is betrayed by his dark tan hairpiece, which is a bit of an odd coupling, maybe an awkward coupling, if you will. The blue legs are also out of sync with the rest of his ensemble, but the torso is a great new option for medieval civilian life. Next, there is this guard, who has one of the new Horse Knight torsos. It's a white torso with silver chainmail collar, some gold print that plays well with the blue and gold Horse Knight shield printed in the middle. The printed ruffles are a nice touch, as are the flat silver arms and hands. The legs are also flat silver with a black belt interspersed with gold buckles, and it has a small horseshoe insignia on it, which is really, really cool. The printing is crisp on the flat silver base, making this a high quality minifig. There is a female archer with the same torso and legs. The rest of her ensemble, the freckled face, blue hood, quiver, and bow, are all fairly common pieces. The knight/queen is similar to the hooded guard. She has the same legs and torso. Her face is pretty common, and her helmet with the visor make regular appearances in castle sets. There is a hairpiece that accompanies her, where you can place her crown. What separates her from most of the other minifigs is that she gets one of the 3 Horse Knight triangular shields. The blue background with white printed horse and gold trim match the insignia on the torsos, with the exception of 3 additional bolts placed in each corner. Like the new printed legs, the print here is crisp and high quality. The king has a unique torso. It's white with a blue collar decorated with small gold horseshoes. There is a sand blue vertical trim laced with diamonds. Like his compatriots, he also has the Horse Knight shield pattern, flat silver arms, and hands. His legs continue the sand blue trim and diamond pattern, but it culminates with gold scalloped ends where his knees. You might think this dual molded hair crown piece is new, but Bricklink tells me that it appeared in a couple of other sets a decade ago, namely the Classic King collectible minifig from Series 13. Toss in a blue soft cloth cape for good measure, and you've got an elite minifig. We end our examination of the minifigs with the Snake Knight, who likes the color black. His black torso is adorned with a dark silver collar, silver diamonds, subtle, dark purple vertical stripes, and a belt. His legs are conceptually similar to the king's, with the vertical striping continuing to his knees, where it is capped off by some dark blay scalloping. He gets a double-sided printed head with a mustache and beard stubble that has appeared in 10 sets. He gets a soft black cloth cape and a black bucket helmet with yellow plume. Also, there's a sword and his new shield. It has a flat silver base, a yellow printed background with black trim, and a black snake. It's a quite impressive minifig, and everything about him is crisp. Other accessories in this set include some weapons, an extra black hairpiece for the Snake Knight, a treasure chest with gems and coins, and various food items. These minifigs are just absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever seen a creator set with so many really interesting minifigs to it, and honestly, I have to give LEGO some props for doing that in this set. As for the brick-built horses, well, okay, these are a bit awkward. I really liked building them, and they look okay, but they're really not all that functional. Sure, the horse legs move, but the minifigs are simply placed in the saddle, and they don't connect to any studs. Any sort of play or vigorous movement will send the minifigs flying out of the saddles. Not only that, but if you place the flagpoles where you're supposed to, the minifig capes really don't fit particularly well. They just get scrunched up in the back, and that can even happen without the flagpoles as well. Given that the pieces for the horses are used in the B and C models, I understand why they might have done that, and the creativity is a strong suit. The execution isn't quite as strong as I was hoping, although I will note that the 2021 castle did not have horses in them, although somehow the recently released unicorn castle got 3 pre-molded unicorns. So I guess there's that. The completed castle right here in front of me is a study in contrast. There are some really good parts and some really negative parts. And I think a little bit of a comparison with the 2021 castle might help with this. The back of the castle, we'll start there, is rather large. It has a small stable with a swinging door and a grill tile on the ground that maybe represents hay or the border between the stable and the blacksmith shop. There is even some horse dung on the ground. Then there's this blacksmith shop which has a fireplace and an anvil, and that has this really cool 1x1 curved slope in black. On the other side of the fireplace there is a throne/dining room. The table has 4 chairs and some food on it. At the end of that is the king's throne, which is a pretty fun build. Hanging above the room are a couple of banners and a nicely constructed chandelier. I am impressed that not only does it have a staircase leading up to the next level, but your minifigs can walk along a ledge to something of a midsection, passing by a rather fun snot-built window that nicely features 1x4 lattice fences. There are a couple of guardrails to prevent your minifigs from falling into the courtyard below. Next, you come upon some steps that lead to some battlements that overlook this courtyard and a door that leads to, I presume, the king's bed chamber. This room is actually pretty spacious. The third level has a small tower on this one side above the king's bedchamber that requires the use of panels in order to fit a minifig into it, and it's topped by a dark blue roof and a blue flag. The other side has much more of a substantial tower, although it is very sparsely furnished. There is a table with a quill and what I presume to be parchment. Above that is the tallest defense position in the castle. For those of you keeping score at home, neither the tower nor the battlements up here are accessible via a ladder or stairs. It's not a big deal to me, but it is worth mentioning. The previously discussed minifigs and the back section of this castle are 2 of the great components to this set. If you compare this to the 2021 medieval castle, you'll notice that this one has a dining room and it has a king's bedchamber. The 2021 version does not. It has a food stand, a jail, it has a throne room, but it doesn't have quite the same size here in the back. However, the awkward part, and that may be generous, comes with the front of the castle, which is very small and, if I'm being honest, pathetic. You can see just how poorly it contrasts with the back of the castle by examining the towers that bookend the drawbridge. They are 2 studs wide on the inside. The only real way minifigs fit there is because of the 1x2x3 panels that provide additional space for their arms. These are really not functioning towers. This is further exhibited by the inability to walk from one tower to the other. There is the drawbridge mechanism, which actually doesn't work all that well. You can roll the drawbridge up, but you can't let it down the whole way. I don't think I did anything wrong with the construction. Interestingly, there's no defense position above that. There's no room. There's just nothing. The set does have a horse knight shield that allows all attackers and visitors to identify who is in charge of the castle. The corner towers hardly fare much better. There is a bit more room on the ground level, but the use of these 2x2 corner panels, which are new in light blue, shrinks the size of the room compared to what we typically have seen in the past with corner panels being the 3x3x6. Now these first appeared in one of the all-time great sets, the Black Falcon's Fortress, and they are used in some spaces in this set, particularly in the back of the castle where there's actually room. These rooms in the front towers would work better maybe as a jail cell or like a snack shop or spot than any sort of meeting room. In fact, check out how awkward this spot looks where the curved windows jut out from the tower. Creator sets do have to make compromise to achieve the 3 models in 1 set requirement, but this doesn't look good. Neither does the lack of wall protection in some spots of the battlement. This could have easily been solved by moving the 1x1 brick down and adding a 1x2 brick on top. You can also remove the back section of the castle, in other words, the good and great sections, to isolate the awkward section. You can even clip the back ends together to get whatever this is. They might call it a castle, but that would be a bit generous of a description. There's really nothing intimidating about this defense position. If you compare this castle to the 1984 Knight's Castle, which by the way is 24 studs wide and thus 2 studs wider than this at its widest point, you can actually see the result of LEGO downsizing in its castle builds. When I first saw images of the set, something did not sit entirely well with me. I couldn't articulate very well what it was. Now that I've got my hands on the set and I built it, it's clearly the front section and specifically these side towers right here next to the drawbridge. I think LEGO had to make some decisions in terms of where they wanted to emphasize the castle, and they chose for this version to emphasize the back end of the castle. The 2021 version certainly emphasizes the front of the castle, and that's why you have taller towers there. So this is a decision that LEGO made. I don't know if it's the wrong decision, but you can definitely get the feel that this is kind of awkward here, the way that it's spaced out and placed, and the back is really, really good, but it just dwarfs the dimensions of the front part of the castle. The last 2 things I'll mention for this main model is that there's not a lot of room on the inside, which I'm okay with. You can't really split the castle apart the same way you could with the 2021 version along the back, but a lot of LEGO castles over the years have had pretty small courtyards. The other thing I will mention is it's not easy to pick this up and lift it. You can run into some issues transporting this from one room to the next if you're not careful, given the way that these only have one connection point via clip in the weak sections. And right here we have the B model, which is a jousting scene. You've got that up front. You have this castle here in the background, and it certainly gives off vibes from the Kingdom's Joust, which came out, I think, over a dozen years ago at this point, although it's a little bit downscaled from that. Like the Kingdom's Joust, this has 2 wings to the castle, 2 towers, and a spectator's bridge connecting them. This model, though, is not as big as the A model, but it's well done. The weapons rack provides plenty of choices for combat entertainment. The king's seat is low-key kind of cool, and the roof to the food tent was pretty fun to build. There are some other creative features to this model, such as the crossing swords that might actually obstruct the king's view of the joust a little bit, the angled flags, and the use of hinge bricks to represent some sort of architectural detailing on the side towers. So this model was a fun build. I think it looks pretty good, and it does contain a slice of medieval life that LEGO has not really given us in set form for quite a while. I do think that if you had a LEGO set that was actually focusing on this subject matter, you would see some changes to the design of the castle. It would be much smoother on some of these transitions from one level to the next. But as a Creator 3-in-1, we know that LEGO does have to make some of those compromises to be able to build the 3 different models. Last year, LEGO came out with the Medieval Town Square. In this set, we get an option to build another little market area, which I thought was kind of interesting, but definitely you can tell it was the C model. There's an arched entrance to the market through which a cart pulled by a soldier can easily pass. There is a guard post that has an interior footprint of about 30 square studs, but it does at least have both a front and back door. Upstairs is a bedroom for the guard, complete with a small table and a candle. I like how they use the angled tiles as curtains for the windows. Moving on, our traveler could arrive at what could be perhaps an armory. There's a helmet there along with a candle. That's it. It's definitely pretty sparse. Along the wall is a food vendor selling a turkey leg and beverage, or maybe it's the armor shop's lunch. There is another small building with a windmill on top. Inside of that is a fireplace and some food placed on this ledge right here. I'm not sure if the food is for sale or if this is a residence, or maybe it's a little bit of both. The scene model can be clipped together to form a small town scene. While this shows off a fun medieval scene, it does lack a lot of coherency that you'd want to see from an official set. And like I said before, you definitely can tell that this is the C model. In the attempt to keep this review a little bit shorter than it might otherwise be, I do want to only spend a couple of moments mentioning the pieces. I do like to focus oftentimes on new pieces, new colors and things like that. But this one comes with 1,371 pieces. It is a lot of castle style pieces. If you want a good castle parts pack, this is a good one for you. Now, of these almost 1,400 pieces, 200 plus are light blade bricks. There are another sizable chunk of dark blade bricks, plenty of modified bricks, some tiles, and lots of little detail pieces that I think you will like if you are into castles or if you want to be able to build large structures. This could, if you are into modular buildings, a lot of times some of the back walls or side walls are gray, so I think this could work for that as well. I think the pieces in and of themselves would represent a very versatile parts pack for a lot of different things that you might want to build. Rating this set was a little tough for me. I was excited about this when I first started seeing rumors, and then when they announced it, I was really excited for it, and I am glad that we have it. I definitely think the minifigs are a highlight of the set, as is the back part of the castle and just the pieces in general for castle building. But this is definitely not a display set. If you were to put this next to the Lion Knight's Castle, the Medieval Blacksmith, even a Bricklink Designer Program set, it's not going to fare well next to it. And so, keep that in mind if you are angling to buy this. It's not necessarily something you're going to want to proudly display. It doesn't look terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly not the same quality that a LEGO adult castle fan would expect, which makes sense. This is a Creator 3-in-1 set, which is focused on the 9+ age bracket. So it does have some of those deficiencies. I do hope to see these minifigs available at the Build a Minifig station at a LEGO store, or even at the Pick and Build online site for LEGO, or we even get a castle in 2026 that will further develop these factions. I mean, the Snake Knight is really cool, but there's no real army behind it. So I would love to see a couple different options for that one. So here's hoping that 2026 provides us with that. Other than that, I do want to mention the price tag. This is $130 US, which for 1,371 pieces, as well as the 6 minifigs, is not a terrible value. However, the set was rumored to be $120 when it was first coming out that we were getting this castle, and then it got bumped up, certainly here in the United States, although not everywhere else, another $10 or pounds or euro, although again, not everywhere got the same price hike. And yeah, I think the $120 price is a bit fairer than $130. I would also note that if you're upset with the $120 or $130 price tag compared to the $100 medieval castle, check out an inflation calculator that they here for the United States dollar, and found that, well, $100 in 2021 equates to $119 and change in 2025. So I think the $120 price tag is good. So if you can find it for that, definitely worth getting it there. You might even be able to find it on a steeper discount, as most creator sets that I've seen have gone on sale at various points in time at Amazon.com or at Walmart or Target. So you could probably find this for around $100 to $110 at some point in the relatively near future. Also, if this castle is available for a long time, like the Medieval Castle from 2021, I think there'll be plenty of options for you to pick this up at a better price than $130. That said, I don't think it's a horrible value. I don't regret paying $130 for this set, especially given that we do have multiple copies, and it's going to allow us to maybe improve upon the look of the front part of this castle and do some really cool things with that. So that's going to be coming down the road in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you subscribe. As for my rating, I didn't forget about that. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I think the minifigs are just a huge highlight to the set, but minifigs are not the only part of a set, especially a Creator 3-in-1. There were some interesting building techniques, but nothing that really awed me like you would hope to see for, you know, an icon set or even an idea set. But the pieces are really, really solid. They're fantastic for Castle fans. So I definitely think this is a set worth picking up if you're a Castle fan or if you're in favor of a good parts pack and you want some really good to elite minifigs in your collection. So that is our independent review. I hope you learned something. I hope it helped you make a decision as to what you might do with this particular set. Make sure you subscribe to get more content on this set and other August releases. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together.